It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you so much for joining us. Leading off this week, the West Bloomfield Lakers concluded their OAA Red Division campaign on Friday, competing for a share of the division title with the Clarkston Wolves on homecoming night. If you missed it, here's what you need to know. Two teams remain at the top of the OAA Red in Week 7 as Clarkston and West Bloomfield battle for the OAA Red Division Championship at the Swamp. Clarkston wins the toss and takes the football opening drive. The Berman brothers, Griffin and Lucas, slice through the Lakers' defensive front and move up the gridiron. Then it's Alex Wazenko switching it up. He hands the ball to Colton Williams, and Jamal Shakespeare denied. Clarkston has its first negative play of the night, but the celebration would not last long. A couple plays later, Griffin Bowman takes the rock 29 yards for the opening touchdown of the night. Clarkston gets out to an early 7-0 lead. Then here comes the Lake Show. Joel Davis takes the pigskin on a tour of the turf, 18 yards up the sideline for a big first down off the check down from Jackson Carver. 2 minutes later, it's the Wolves defense coming up with the big play. Carver's in trouble. He zips a 50-50 ball to the sideline, and Malachi Switzer skips in front for an interception. That's the first of the season for the Lakers. On the next drive, the Wolves get locked into a 3rd and 4. They look to Griffin Bowman on the fake wide receiver sweep, and the Lakers call in the A-team. Tank Pittman, Kyron Merriweather, and Isaiah Gray all in on the stop. That sets up a 49-yard field goal attempt for Aiden O'Neill. That's his kind of range. He hits 50-yarders, but it's not his kind of day. He pounds the line drive outside the uprights, and the Lakers escape a Clarkston drive with no damage. Then it's the Waz. Alex Wazenko hits some traffic, escapes the pocket, and well, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. The quarterback scrambles and picks up 26 yards. Aiden O'Neill will make his second field goal attempt of the night from just 35 yards, but he misses again. His first 2 missed field goals of the season are his first 2 attempts of the night. West Bloomfield strolls into another lucky break. And they would make the most of that luck with their longest drive of the entire season. Just under 10 minutes come off the clock. Obi Duru goes for a joyride. And then shortly after, 4th and short, Coach Rise calls for a gut check. And the Lakers get the Wolves got on a hard count. Offsides and a first down for WB. 7:45 left in the half. Will Espy gets the rock on 3rd down. Fights for the line to gain. Gets a push. It's close, and it's his. Lakers advance again. West Bloomfield continues to wear down the Clarkston defensive front. And then finally, under 2 minutes left in the half, Carver under pressure relays it to Joel Davis, and he gets his first receiving touchdown since week number 1. Lakers tie it up at 7 apiece. Clarkston now looking to make a quick hit on the scoreboard before the break. Passes to Childs and Love. Set up one final heave to Lucas Bowman. Complete in the red zone, and that will give Aiden O'Neill one final field goal attempt of the half with 4 seconds remaining. This time he splits the uprights. Clarkston takes a 10-7 lead into the locker room. On to the second half. West Bloomfield will get the first crack at it on offense, and it will not last long, under 100 seconds before they punt it off to the Wolves. That would not be the same for Clarkston. It would take less than a minute until Alex Wazenko finds Lucas Bowman for his first touchdown of the contest and his 5th in the past 3 weeks. It's now 17-7 Clarkston. West Bloomfield takes over. Will Espy turns on the fighting music and grinds out a 4th down conversion, breaking 2 tackles on his way to the Clarkston 15-yard line. The Wolves D would return to form, this time on 4th down. West B elects to send Bryce Coburn out for his 5th field goal attempt of the season. He would be successful, and the Lakers narrow the deficit to 17-10. On the West Bloomfield drive, Jackson Carver fires a laser beam to Willie Edwards, and then a new player enters the ball game. Mother Nature, welcome to West Bloomfield. A little ambiance for you. As we get ready for quarter number 4, 7-point ball game. You've won a homecoming showdown. Mother Nature is coming to the ball game. But it wouldn't be Mother Nature to rain on the Lakers' homecoming parade. First play of the fourth quarter on 4th down. Jackson Carver looks to Joel Davis on the slant, and Hunter Kauf gets there first for the Clarkston interception. That's their second of the ball game. Later, Wajenko would call his own number again, and he is absolutely untethered. He goes for nearly 50 yards and a huge momentum shift for the Wolves. That would stick just under 3 minutes later. What's the deal with all this airmail? Wajenko dishes the rock back to Griffin Bowman on the ground, and he gets home. Clarkston now has a 2-score lead, 24-10. The Lakers looked to answer, but they had the wrong answer. First play of the series, 2-man blitz on Jackson Carver. He ditches the football. Liam Sutherland, thank you! The big fella picks up a takeaway and sets his offense up in the red zone. From the pick to the payoff, Lucas Bowman touchdown rush number 1, his second touchdown overall of the evening. Their lead is now 31-10. Time is running out for the Lakers to be the homecoming heroes. Griffin Bowman would add insult to injury with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the night. And then the clock would strike midnight on the homecoming Kings. Clarkston wins 38-10 and earns sole possession of the OAA Red Division title. That's their first since 2020. The Lakers with that loss falling to 5-2 on the season. Now they're in a 3-way tie with Rochester, Adams, and Oxford for second place in the OAA Red Division as that part of the season has concluded. As I mentioned, Clarkston now with sole possession of the OAA Red Division title, their first since 2020, and they jump even further into the top 5 in Division I playoff points, virtually guaranteed to have at least one home playoff game. I talked to Coach Pinter late last week, and he said part of that game plan against West Bloomfield, why they wanted to win so bad, to set them up for home field advantage. So much to unpack from a game that had its ebbs and flows, plenty of ups and many, many downs later on as the Lakers fell to the Wolves on Friday night. Here with more analysis is our color analyst for West Bloomfield Laker football, Matt Catoni. Matt, thank you for joining me today as we look back on the second consecutive loss for the Lakers. This one arguably way worse than what happened in Oxford because of an utter collapse late in the game. It seemed for a while like West Bloomfield was at least in this ball game. Clarkston certainly in the driver's seat. What happened late in the game that turned it very much in favor of the eventual champions in the Wolves?
Yeah, going into that fourth quarter, it kind of seemed like whoever had the ball last was going to maybe the team that wins the game. But then the Lakers, as you mentioned, just collapsed. And it's just the best way I can think of describing it is a dam cracking. And that's how Clarkston kind of aimed to break this West Bloomfield team. They kept on just hitting them with the Bowman brothers until eventually the Lakers gave way.
Now, early on in the game, it was a war of attrition. West Bloomfield had its longest drive of the season, 9 minutes, 59 seconds, held the ball almost to the entire end of the first half before a Joel Davis receiving touchdown, his second on the season. And it really did seem like it was going to be one in the trenches. Whichever team got tired quicker, whichever team got their weakness exploited more severely and earliest was going to be the one that had the tide turn against their favor. But Clarkston seemed to be able to exploit those weaknesses a little bit better. Do you take that as being more of a factor from their veteran presence and their size, or the Lakers having a problem they could not mitigate through game plan, through strategy, through timeouts, and taking a break?
Well, I think it's both a mix of the talent on the Clarkston roster. The Bowman brothers did a great job, not just on offense, but on defense as well, preventing the Lakers from getting to the perimeter and getting those outside runs that are kind of the forefront and just the key aspect of this offense. But also for the Lakers, it comes back to turnovers. Those 2 interceptions really almost killed the game for them, and just you can't have that playing a team like Clarkston.
You have one of the all-time great running backs in the history of MHSAA football. Definitely one of the best, if not the best, statistically in Division I football history in Ethan the Shark Clark graduate. And then you move on, you have two running backs that fill that role, arguably just as well, in Griffin and Lucas Bowman. Griffin on the game, 11 carries, 105 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Lucas had 68 receiving yards, 36 rushing yards, and a pair of touchdowns, one on the ground, one in the air. But even beyond that, Matt, Alex Wojczenko had one of his all-time best games against West Bloomfield. It seemed like as smooth as we've seen guys like Jackson Carver and even Joel Shakespeare at quarterback for the Lakers be all season long, Alex Wojczenko is kind of what we're hoping maybe Jackson Carver molds into as he continues to mature. And we've seen signs of that going forward. How impressed were you with the gunslinger for the Wolves?
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with Alex Wojczenko. I mean, going into this year, there's a big question of how much is he going to improve upon his impressive first year on varsity. And last weekend, he was phenomenal. And he didn't necessarily light up the stat sheet in the passing game, but he didn't make any mistakes. And he just kept the Clarkston offense on schedule and never really got thrown off by the pressure the Lakers were able to get on him.
And now for the Lakers, it's kind of on the other side of that. You look toward their young offense. That offensive line kind of got dominated in the second half. The pressure mounting on Jackson Carver and led to him having to ditch the football out, try to get it to an open receiver, a couple of different quick slants to Joel Davis and other targets. Just trying to get rid of the football and avoid a sack led to his first 2 interceptions of the entire season. Unfortunately, they came at really important moments. So now for the Laker coaching staff, offensive coordinator Ken Rise, head coach and former quarterback himself, Zach Hilbers. What should they be saying? What are you expecting them to be saying in their conversations with the young quarterback after he had a pretty solid game leading up to late in that contest when, as you said, the dam broke and turnovers started to become a big issue and arguably cost the Lakers that game?
I don't think there's necessarily too much the coaching staff needs to say to Carver. I mean, it's kind of, he knows that he can't turn the ball over like that. But the coaching staff itself, I mean, I'm sure they're going into these next few weeks thinking, how can they improve the passing game and what can they do to kind of get the passing game to where that outside run game is? Because going deep into the playoffs, if this passing game is still kind of the looming weakness of this offense, opposing teams are going to key in on that and force the Lakers to throw the football.
And at this point, the Lakers 5-2 overall, middle of the road in terms of where they'll probably be placed in the playoffs. Right now, you're looking down the barrel of facing another possibly first-round matchup with a team like Catholic Central at this point. That is if the playoffs were to start today. But there's still plenty of season left, Matt. 96 minutes of football left for these Lakers. 1 game at home 2 weeks from now against Roseville. And then this week, a chance to redeem themselves, go back out on the road and take on a team like Bloomfield Hills, which isn't having exactly the greatest season they could be having, but it's a team that's up and coming and incredibly well coached by the legendary Scott Merchant. So what are you looking for from the Lakers this week to bounce back? How important can this week be as we approach playoff time?
Yeah, it's really kind of a get-right game and fine-tuning the offense. It doesn't necessarily need to be a game where you light up the scoreboard, but it needs to be a game where you play a clean game of offense. No turnovers that kill drives, no turnovers that really extend life for the opposing team, and just stuff like that. They can't really get in their own way this week, and it has to be a clean game of football.
Yeah, snooze2u.com does mapatology, basically predictions of where the playoff matchups would be if they were to start today in Division I. West Bloomfield predicted to be going up against Catholic Central in round 1 in the same region as Brighton, Farmington, Clarkston, and other teams like Heartland, Grand Blanc, and Davison. Would be a very tough going for them, but these last 2 weeks give them an opportunity to pick up some playoff points, and on top of that, the things out of their control, how other teams perform, could have a big impact too. 2 losses could get you a home playoff game, Matt, so these are really important matchups coming up, especially this week against Bloomfield Hills. And it all begins early on in the week in practice. You mentioned it during the game with the turnovers, with some of the quick scores from Clarkston. Got to have short-term memory as you still got plenty of season left ahead. So if you're the Lakers going into this week, what do you imagine are the conversations between the veteran players who have seen a little bit of this story before and the younger players who may be experiencing this kind of for lack of better terms, devastation after a shocking loss a couple weeks back against Oxford in a way that you probably don't see more than once in your high school career. And then last week, a game that just slipped away from you very quickly against Clarkston.
I think to a degree, it's probably a little bit of, hey, Chicken Little, the sky's not falling. Granted, they've had 2 heartbreaking losses back to back, but that's all their regular season losses at the end of the day, and that's how this team has to look at it. They lost to a very talented team last week, and then they made mistakes that allowed Oxford to end up sneaking away with that win. They have to kind of put those games behind them and still recognize they're a very talented team. They can't make mistakes like that will cost them the game. So going forward, as long as they can kind of keep their heads held high and their heads on their shoulders, I think they can compete with anyone.
2-5, Bloomfield Hills is on the docket this week. The Lakers will travel to Bloomfield Hills High School on Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll have information on where you can see that game on CivicCenterTV.com. Then they'll conclude the season with currently 4-3 Roseville, a team that gave them some trouble a year ago and gave them that final regular season loss by just 1 point. So a lot of competitive football ahead for the West Bloomfield Lakers. And we talk about all the bad. It's easy when you lose 38-10, as the Lakers did on their homecoming game last Friday. It cost them the OAA Red Division Championship, where they would have had a share of that title had they won the game. The scoreboard makes it seem a lot worse than it actually was, Matt, because as you said, really until the fourth quarter came around, this was a very close matchup, and we saw the Lakers in some critical points make some big plays. 4th down, forcing an offside on Clarkston, something they hadn't been able to pull off all season. Usually it's been them jumping during their own hard counts in those sorts of situations. 3rd down and 4th down conversions, showing their toughness and continuing to get guys like Obi Duru and Will Espy heavily involved in the running game and making big plays. This Lakers team still has plenty of promise across all 3 phases.
Yeah, really, in the way that their leaders in the trenches and the playmakers that they have, they can really just take time off the clock no matter what the situation is. And that's what I think the Lakers kind of have to play into going into these next few weeks in the playoffs, is that time of possession game, just eating the clock and not necessarily going for the big plays, but taking those 3 to 4 yards that they've been able to get fairly easily all year.
And they've been consistently able to do that. It's a great point. 3-4 yards per carry was something that Justin Pinter, the head coach of Clarkston, said was his hope for his team against a very stout Lakers defense. They were able to pull that off and have very successful drives all throughout that particular game. Nonetheless, most of their drives were relatively short for West Bloomfield in that game, and I'd have to review my boards and my notes to get the exact time of possession off the top of my head. I don't have it immediately here with me, but in terms of time of possession, the Lakers consistently have been able to put together 3-4 minute drives and the occasional 6-minute drive too along the way, 5-minute drive along the way. They can do that. They had a 10-minute drive last game that was successful and tied that game up. War of attrition, keeping the ball away from some pretty prolific offenses that you're likely going to see in the Division I playoffs, going to be a key for the Lakers. Matt Gattoni is with us, our color commentator for our live coverage of West Bloomfield Laker football. If you missed last week's game, it's available for you on CivicCenterTV.com/LakerSports. Matt, as we look forward to Friday, as you said, kind of that game to right the ship for the Lakers going up against Bloomfield Hills, a chance to play spoiler in what will likely be an increased hype environment for senior night over at Bloomfield Hills. You look at the schedule, you see a 2-5 team. You see Bloomfield Hills High School, which has not had a lot of success on their football schedule in recent years. First year under a new head coach, trying to get their program situated for the future. This looks like a game that you can really make a big impact on the field for the Lakers. How important is it for them to come out on Friday and play a full 48 minutes at full force to not only get back on track, but to show them what true north is going to be for the home stretch of this season?
Yeah, really. I think one thing in this game is I want to see the offense come out, not necessarily attack downfield, but kind of get Jackson Carver going a little bit and kind of allow him to build his confidence after those rare interceptions last week. But again, as you mentioned, the biggest aspect of winning this week is setting yourself up for potentially having a home playoff game and avoiding a team like Catholic Central.
Yeah, and that's a really important point. We got one more minute with you, Matt, before we got to move on. We're up against it now at this point, but you still have a chance at a home playoff game. You're probably not going to get home field advantage. You're absolutely not going to get home field advantage. You're likely not going to get 2 consecutive home games unless you get really lucky with an upset down the bracket in your first round matchup. But that's another big part of this, Matt. You want to get extra home games. You don't want Roseville to be the home finale. That's got to be an impact for these Lakers as well. Matt, your final thoughts as we head into into the penultimate week of the season this Friday at Bloomfield Hills.
Really just keep treading. That's what I think this Lakers team needs to do. Yeah, they kind of got beat up last week, but I think as long as they can keep their head above the water and not lose that confidence in themselves, they can still compete with any team in the state.
And that they will try to do on Friday, get back on track after a very close loss against Oxford and the very close game that ended in a tragic collapse for West Bloomfield on homecoming night against Clarkston. We'll be there. We'll be talking about it all throughout the rest of the season right here on Civic Center TV and on the Splash Live. Matt, thanks as always.
Thank you for having me.
You can see all of his coverage and mine alongside on civiccentertv.com/Lakersports, your place to watch all of West Bloomfield's football games so far, and we'll have information on where to find the games going forward. Stay tuned as well. Later today, a brand new episode of This Week in Laker Football. I'll break down last week's game with Coach Hilbers, talk to one of the players about where they stand at this point in the season heading into week number 8, and preview the upcoming game this week on the road, that rivalry matchup against the Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks. The fall foliage leads straight into spooky season, but in Sylvan Lake, the ghouls and goblins won't scare away some friendly family fun. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff has more.
Fall may have started a little while ago, but this is the official start of the fall season here in Sylvan Lake. As just recently, the Jan Hayes Pumpkin Patch celebrated its 18th annual event for all of the families in Sylvan Lake and Greater West Bloomfield. With great food, amazing music, fun games, and pumpkins galore, there was something for everybody here at this event as they celebrated the fall season and spending time with family all day long.
Yeah, it's the kickoff to our fall celebration, our fall harvest celebration. It's absolutely, I love it. I love this neighborhood. I love the fellowship and the camaraderie and the love we have for each other. And it's a wonderful time of year. We celebrate fall. And being from Michigan, we have 4 beautiful seasons, and this is just one more celebration.
Oh, we've been coming here for years now. This is like our annual family fall event of the year. I think it just builds that sense of community, and you bump into your neighbors, and it just kind of brings everyone together from Sylvan to Waterford to West Bloomfield.
It is just incredible. Everybody showed out to help this morning. The pumpkins arrived at 7 a.m. We had many volunteers who were residents who come out year after year to help us. Could not do it without them. But to just see everybody here, we are expecting over 500 people this year, and it's a beautiful day. Every year we're blessed with a beautiful day, so we do it earlier in the month than later. But it means a great deal to me to see all the support from my Sylvan Lake neighbors.
It's an honor. It truly is an honor. We're here. We have 4 generations here today. Our great-granddaughter is here with my granddaughter and my daughter. They came in from Chicago for this, and our daughter lives 4 doors down, and that's so typical Sylvan.
What do you see this event meaning for families in general, just having such a blast out here in Sylvan Lake year after year for the fall season?
Well, there's no question about it. It's a great family event. You get all these kids being dressed, a lot of them are being dressed up in the perfect weather, and everybody's enjoying it. And I'll tell you, she's done a great job having this for about 18 years, and this one is really...
This is over the top.
Over the top.
You know what's really cute this year is the kids started dressing up in costumes to come, and that just kind of added a whole new flavor. And it's something that even us as great-grandparents look forward to coming to see the kids and enjoy the neighborhood.
Why, you think we should go ahead and get costumes next year for ourselves?
Oh, God, we'll scare everybody.
What do you hope families take away from being here today and taking with them to celebrate throughout the remainder of fall?
Just beautiful memories, take pictures. You know, your kids are only young for so long, right? The kids are only toddlers, or, you know, they're young for just a blink of an eye. And before you know it, they're off to college. you're an empty nester again, like Jackie and I. So treasure every moment with your kids while they're young. Celebrate these moments, take pictures, and just every day's a gift.
I hope that people just continue to enjoy themselves and stay a community. I think it brings the community together, and I think that's what we need right now, people coming together.
This event brings smiles and laughter every single fall season, and Jan Hayes is responsible for that every single year. Let's hope these families bring home plenty more than just pumpkins, as they also bring home countless memories for the future. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Plenty of more fall fun available in Sylvan Lake coming up very soon. Learn more about how you can get involved on sylvanlake.org, their calendar with plenty of events through Parks and Rec and other organizations at the community center and all around the prettiest little city in Michigan. One of the most beloved stage plays of all time is about to make a stop close to home in West Bloomfield Township. Fiddler on the Roof is set to premiere at the Berman Center for the Performing Arts later on this week and run all the way through October 26th. Here with a special preview is Sarah Grice, a.k.a. Seidel from Fiddler on the Roof. Sarah, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you on. It's a big show coming to the Berman Center here in West Bloomfield on Drake and on Maple in West Bloomfield. Going to be a big show all throughout this week and next as you put on Fiddler on the Roof. Seidel is your character in this particular play, but Fiddler on the Roof still is such a big draw for people, even in 2025. What about this show do you think still resonates with audiences all these years later, even today?
I think it's so much about family and it's about traditions. And it just kind of draws us back to those things that mean the most to us. It's something that's very important and special to me. Fiddler on the Roof was something that we watched as a family when I was a kid. So it kind of just brings back that nostalgia for everyone. And, you know, it's got a great meaning to it. It's got a lot of heart. It's got comedy. It's got excitement. So I think it's just one of those things that people just always have loved.
And one thing about this show that makes it so relatable to audiences is it has that mixture of heartbreak and humor. It lightens the mood enough to keep you engaged, not just upset an audience while telling a relatively heartbreaking story. And so how do those emotional shifts night to night impact both the actors on the stage, but also the audiences and help to build that connection?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's an emotional roller coaster that we go on every single night because the whole purpose of the show is this shift and change. It's so close to reality because these are things that actually happened. So a lot of the themes that occur, especially with some of the things that are even happening today, are really just kind of hit you in the feels. So it's something that we as a cast have really worked through. We really have to trust each other. We've had to make those connections to get those joyous times and make them, you know, as natural as possible, especially when we're going between that and the heartbreak and, you know, just having to be comfortable with individuals while we're being comforted through really difficult situations. There's a lot of family dynamic in it that we've really created amongst the cast that just makes this production really special.
And you mentioned it too, Sarah, your appreciation for this show, having seen it before, experienced it before, and now you get a chance to be part of the storytelling yourself. And as you mentioned, it's kind of a balance between joy and a little bit of sorrow too, because of the truth behind this story. So as a performer and as a part of this ensemble cast, how do you all balance that out as you're trying to build that chemistry so it shows in the show on the stage, while also preparing to tell this story in your own way also?
Yeah, I personally connect with this show on so many levels. Seidel is the oldest of three girls. I am the oldest of three girls. And she is the daughter of Tevye, and he is the very strong man. He's very strong in his morals and his traditions, in his faith. And that's something that I grew up with in my own family and my own dad. So as far as the emotions go, they come very naturally for me because I kind of just settle into Seidel is so close to who I am in some ways. But what has really helped in this is a lot of the cast, especially, as a person who has three sisters, the two young ladies that play two of my sisters, there's five of us. We've actually really tried to get together and bond and talk, and we've just shared a lot about ourselves and our lives. So just having that comfortability amongst the cast has really helped draw those emotions out. And it's not even, it just comes naturally now. The smiles and the fun and even the tears they're just a natural occurrence amongst all of us.
Just 6 chances to see Fiddler on the Roof at the Berman Center for the Performing Arts in West Bloomfield Township. It all begins on October 17th. Shows running the 17th through the 19th and the 24th through the 26th. You can get your tickets online, nicelytheatergroup.com. Nicely Theater with an R-E, group.org. For your tickets. One more time, nicelytheatergroup.org is the place to go to get your tickets for the 6 and only 6 shows. Sarah Grice is with us from the cast of Fiddler on the Roof at the Berman Center for the Performing Arts. And you mentioned some of your personal connections to this character, the dynamics of your life that you've been able to incorporate into your preparation to play Seidel on the stage during these 6 performances. But what about her personality were you most excited to explore as you prepared for this show and now as you're performing it here in West Bloomfield?
Yeah, as far as Seidel goes, she differs. She's very similar to me in some ways, but she's also very different. And what I love about Seidel is she's a little bit headstrong, but she's also still got that older sister dynamic. She's still got that connection with her parents where she doesn't want to disappoint them, but she's also strong enough to stand up for what she wants. And that's something that I've really had fun with as the oldest daughter in my own world. It's something that, I've been plagued with I don't want to disappoint mom and dad. So Seidel she's kind of an inspiration because she kind of starts the ball rolling for this change and this, new way of the one line is that the world is changing. And so she's kind of that person that kind of starts that change and that ball rolling to get her parents to kind of have a different idea about certain things. So that's been really fun to work with. It's also been really kind of fun to immerse myself in the culture, not someone of Jewish faith or Jewish background, but just being surrounded with people in my life who are of the Jewish faith. It's been really interesting and fun getting to know that. So I've taken a lot of information from fellow castmates, from my directors, to kind of bring that to her personality as well, because the times were very, very different in terms of how women were perceived and what the women's role was back then. So that's been something really different that I've been able to take on as well.
And part of the purpose of this art form, much like film, theater is such an intimate way of entertaining people through performing art. There's always a multitude of messages that an audience can take away from any one of these shows, especially a classic like Fiddler on the Roof. Its original message still resonating today, but given what has been going on in the world, both on foreign and domestic soils, and sort of the state of the world that we're in, what are some of your hopes for what the audience can take away from this performance during these 6 shows, and then maybe incorporate into their world here in 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a really difficult time with some of the things that are happening. And I hope that audiences come in, and maybe some individuals have never witnessed or seen Fiddler on the Roof. I hope that it moves them. I hope they can connect with, how things that were happening then are still happening today, and it kind of resonates with them. But I really, really hope as well that audiences focus in on the joy as well, and just remembering that even through hard times, these individuals clung to each other. They clung to their families. They held tight to their faith, and kept the things that were really important in their heart centralized, even through their struggles. That's the one thing that they still maintained throughout the show, is they really, really held tight to who they were and where they came from, and really that tradition of, you know, how they were raised and what they believed in.
And on a personal level for you, what are some of your takeaways from having now been able to perform in this show after being a fan of it for so long?
It's been absolutely incredible. I've had conversations with our wonderful director, Mitch Master, about this, because Fiddler is not something that gets done locally often, because it's often on Broadway or it's often out on tour. So it's such a pleasure to finally get to have the opportunity to not just audition, but actually get cast in this show. And when I auditioned, I was like, I will do anything just to be in the show because of what it means to me. So it's just been one of the best experiences. I'm performing with some of my dearest friends. I've made amazing connections with new friends and castmates, and that's the thing that I love so much about theater. We really are a community. We really are a family, which, you know, obviously plays out on the stage when you see how we all interact with each other. And that's something that I'm going to take away. Not only the experience of finally being able to perform in my ultimate favorite musical, but also getting to perform with the individuals who are in my cast and work with our fabulous crew and orchestra as well.
Sarah Grice is with us, one of the cast members of Fiddler on the Roof, performing here in West Bloomfield at the Berman Center for the Performing Arts. 6 shows on the way. You can purchase your tickets for those limited performances right now online. Nicelytheatergroup.org is the website to get your tickets. They begin on October 17th. They conclude on October 26th. Sarah, you mentioned this is a show that typically is on Broadway or is in big theaters off Broadway, maybe even locally, like the Fisher Theater in downtown Detroit. It's a completely different paradigm shift when you are playing in a local theater like the Berman Center for the Performing Arts. It's an interesting environment. It's great for a stage play. Why is the Berman Center a good place for people? If they want to see Fiddler on the Roof, why should they go and see it at the Berman?
Oh, yes, please come to the Berman. If you haven't been to the Berman, it is an absolutely gorgeous facility. This is my 3rd show working with Nicely and performing at the Berman. It is one of my favorite places to perform. You know, it's state of the art. So you just feel like you are in a professional theater when you walk in. The professional staff is amazing. One of the things that I love about being at the Berman is while it is a larger house, there is not a bad seat in the house. Everywhere you sit, you're going to get an amazing view. You're going to be able to see the actors. You're going to be able to witness, you know, facial expressions and emotions and everything. And it's actually a very, very comfortable theater, which I know, you know, especially when I go to shows with my dad, that's one of the biggest things he wants to know is, are the seats comfortable? And yes, they are. You know, we just love being at the Berman, and you know, just from when you walk in the doors with the high ceilings and everything, you really feel like you're stepping into a place that's really special.
And it'll be a special few nights here in West Bloomfield for Fiddler on the Roof coming up. Shows October 17th through 19th and the 24th through the 26th. Sarah, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you so much again for having me. I hope we see you all out at the show.
Just 6 shows on the docket for Fiddler on the Roof in West Bloomfield. You can purchase your tickets now. Make sure you've got a seat for one or more of those 6 performances. Nicelytheatergroup.org is the website. One more time, nicelytheatergroup.org, and that is theater, Theatre, group.org. This weekend, a fun opportunity to snap the perfect fall family pics in the heart of West Bloomfield and bring your pet family along as well. Christine O'Brien runs Rough Life Photography and will be visiting Premier Pet Supply of West Bloomfield's annual Halloween party this weekend at the Orchard Mall, all to help raise money to support local animal shelters along the way. I spoke with Christine about her support for these local shelters, as well as her expert tips on getting the perfect picture with your beloved animals. taking part in the Premier Pet Supply West Bloomfield location's festive Halloween party on Sunday, October 19th. That's from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. You're no stranger to Greater West Bloomfield, and especially to our Premier Pet Supply location off on Orchard Lake Road in the Orchard Mall. It's a special experience, and it takes a special talent, too, to get those perfect pictures with families and their pets. Take us through a little bit of your process and how you turn that experience into the magic it becomes.
Well, so you come in for a photo, and sometimes there is a little bit of a line, but we try to, relax the dogs a little bit and, let them calm down a little bit. And then I have a backdrop, and everyone can sit, or just the pet can sit in the photo, and we take the picture. We leave them on the leash the whole time, and we edit the leashes out. But it's something that they can, we print it out and they can take it home with them. But we try to have enough staff there to make sure that, dogs aren't, getting in each other's faces and all that kind of stuff. But there's 14 Premier Pet Supply locations, and we're doing Halloween photos at all of them. But you said West Bloomfield, we are doing them on the 19th, October 19th at 2:30. We also will be there later for Hanukkah and Santa photos later in the season. So, yeah.
And so when people think about photography, they probably would conventionally believe that it's easier to set everything up, have a backdrop, get everybody in the perfect place, and then snap that picture. And when pets are involved, I would think it's the complete opposite. Getting those candid photos out in the field, out in real life with people and their pets is probably a lot easier. So what are some of your secrets to getting those pets, especially dogs, that are around other pets at an event like this, to be in that perfect spot, pose with their family, and get that amazing fall picture with everybody?
That's a really good question. It's making noises. So they can be head tilting back and forth. There's so much going on. But the minute you make an odd noise, like a ee or a squeak, or some type of, sometimes I use duck calls, it's making that noise, and they turn their head, and you have to click that second that they're looking. So it's that simple.
So when you come to Premier Pet Supply, you're providing that as a service within this Halloween party. It is at a reduced cost. Give us a little bit of information on what people need to know before they go out there with their pets if they're looking to get those pictures on the afternoon of Sunday, October 19th.
Okay, so when you come, it's a $10 photo, and just every Premier Pet Supply that we do this at, that money, every dollar is donated to different rescues. So every location, West Bloomfield, we're donating to Almost Home Animal Rescue. So you come in, you pay the $10, you get your picture, you take your print. But yeah, you just maybe not feed them as many snacks so they're more treat motivated when they do get their picture. But other than that, come in and have a good time. There's going to be costume contests and treats and snacks and all kinds of things for everybody. So it should be a good time.
As you involve yourself with this, using your expertise, taking these pictures for families that want to get those perfect pet pictures for the fall season here in Greater West Bloomfield, as you mentioned, these proceeds are going to local animal rescues, animal shelters like Almost Home. For you, how close of a relationship do you have? How close do you hold that impact of supporting local rescues as you're around pets every single day doing this professionally?
Yeah, it's hugely important to me. A huge part of the work I do is rescue photography. So not just doing the stuff in the pet stores with Premier Pet Supply, but also, yes, Premier Pet Supply gives me the space, and we pick different groups that are amazing throughout the Metro Detroit area. And that affords me this opportunity to give back, but also interacting with people, finding out rescues they work with, and then I go and take photos of their fosters, or I go to the shelters and take pictures of their shelter dogs to help them get adopted better. So the connection with animals is a huge thing for me, but also helping them find homes is a big deal. Saving lives in Metro Detroit is even more of an issue now than ever with dogs getting euthanized in shelters. So it's an incredible opportunity for me to be able to do this.
And what better place to do it than at our local Premier Pet Supply location,
Exactly.
A family-owned business here in Greater West Bloomfield with locations all throughout southeastern Michigan that partners with these shelters, too, to help these pets find their forever homes, with partnerships such as Christine O'Brien from Rough Life Photography joining us on the Splash Live. You can join Christine and her team with Rough Life Photography at Premier Pet Supply on Orchard Lake Road in the Orchard Mall. It's at the corner of Orchard Lake and Maple Road in West Bloomfield. Their Halloween party is October 19th, a Sunday afternoon from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Now, Christine, I know you're going to have all these special backgrounds. People are going to come in with their pets all dressed up and ready to be in that fall theme. Maybe it's a Halloween costume. Maybe they're going to try to disguise their dog as a pumpkin, something in between. All these years you've been doing this, what's the best costume you've seen someone bring their pets in for one of these photography sessions?
So last year, Whiskey the Bijla, she has her own Instagram account, but her human made her a porcupine costume and handmade all the needles and painted them. It was this incredible looking. It's hard to top that costume. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a Moose, he's a therapy dog. He and his human dressed as Toto and Dorothy for The Wizard of Oz. That's also a really good one. But I mean, it's incredible to see them all. They're all amazing.
Well, now we got a task for the people of Greater West Bloomfield. They've got to top those costumes on October 19th in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake Road at Premier Pet Supply. Christine, thank you so much for your time today, and we're looking forward to October 19th.
Yep, thank you.
You can learn more and find even more events at Premier Pet Supply in West Bloomfield on their Facebook page, Premier Pet Supply West Bloomfield, facebook.com/Premier Pet Supply West Bloomfield. On Election Day, Greater West Bloomfield will practice one of the greatest American rights, the right to vote. They will also celebrate many of whom put their lives on the line in order for us to be able to have that right at the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff spoke to event organizer Bernadette Hudgens for a preview of this year's celebration.
Bernadette, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. So glad to be here to join you.
Absolutely glad to have you with us as well. Really, really looking forward to the Heroes Breakfast coming up soon. It's one of the biggest events with West Bloomfield Parks that takes place every single year. How long has this event been going on, and what does it mean to West Bloomfield Parks?
I'd say a little over 10 years. This program has been a program that is one of those things that is a staple in the community. It is an event that we have a lot of great support because people want to honor our veterans. I mean, honestly, we think about the freedoms that we have here in our great country. It is because of the sacrifices and dedication of our veterans. So we are happy to take this opportunity as a token to show them our appreciation.
That's absolutely right. And of course, it's not just West Bloomfield Parks who helps to put this together, as we mentioned.
Yes.
There's a ton of partnerships that help make this event possible. It's almost like the Avengers, everyone teaming up. You got the West Bloomfield Township, the school district, the public library, everybody. How does that enhance the event's mission?
Well, I think that it really helps to show the community that this is something that is not just honored and appreciated by the WB Parks, but by the community partners who are serving them on a day-to-day basis. So I think, and I love the fact that not only this event could not happen without the wonderful sponsors that we have, Seniors Benefit Plus, for example. They support us year after year. And so these are this program, I should say, is so important and so valued, and it just creates that space to say, hey, we thank you. And we're excited this year because we had the hometown singers, but then we also have some local musicians, and that will be the middle school. They will be performing our veterans out at the end of the session. So we're really excited about this year's event. And we also have some donations from Mission Barbecue. So we're really excited about this event and looking forward to being able to gather our seniors, all of our veterans to acknowledge this important season as we go into Veterans Day.
That's right, and it's going to be a very, very moving ceremony for all of the veterans that are there.
Yes.
And every Heroes Breakfast, I'm sure no two Heroes Breakfasts have been exactly the same. What new features or enhancements are being introduced this year compared to past years?
Well, one of the things that every year, our goal is always to make it more seamless, make it more efficient. And so in the past, we've had photographers. We're actually doing our own photo booth, and we have it set up so that folks can take their photos, go into their event, walk out, have their names on their their pictures. They can walk out. We also, like I said, we had a donation from Mission Barbecue, and they're donating a Tiffany casserole. So that will be a new addition. And we have all of our wonderful volunteers who play a key role in making this event happen, so that we can serve almost 200 folks that come out. And we also have a process that is easier for them to check in, and we have a special guest from Selfish Air Base. So we're really excited about this event. But I will tell you, this is a well-oiled machine because we've been doing it. The processes and how we do it is great. And so we do have our fire chief, our fire chaplain, Tim Hoserland, who will be doing our invocation. We have a wonderful MC, Al Muskovitz. So if you watch the news or know anything about sports, or even have been around for a while, Big Al is going to be our MC. And then we have our one of our fire chiefs will also be our MC. So will be one of our folks who will be doing some speaking as well. So I think we have some really great things going, and we're excited about the event this year.
You absolutely should be excited. It sounds like you've got a great lineup of speakers and entertainers for the program. How do you select who speaks and entertains for the program, and what qualities do you tend to look for in those people?
I think one of the qualities first, we want them to understand the veteran experience. So if they are not a veteran, that they've interacted and engaged, because again, this is to honor our veterans. So we want to make sure that we are having presenters who can speak to their challenges, who can speak to how important that they are. So that's really important for us. And then also making sure that we are trying to find local veterans or people who are currently serving, so that we can make sure that we are taking into consideration some of the challenges that people may experience just living and also the wins that people may have living in our community or near our community.
For those just joining us on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Bernadette Hudgens, the Senior Services Manager for West Bloomfield Parks, who's giving us some insight on this year's Heroes Appreciation Breakfast that is going to be taking place on November 4th. Now, as we've said, this event is open to everybody, not just veterans, but non-veterans as well. How do you balance honoring veterans while also including non-veterans, and what's the significance of making it open to all?
Well, I think it's important as we think about honoring our veterans that, again, that they know that it's not just our community partners, right? So anyone who is not a veteran and they're not coming as a gift, the fee is nominal, $15 for a breakfast, and most of us spend more than that going to brunch. So $15 is a nominal fee, but all of our veterans, and again, you don't have to be a West Bloomfield veteran to come. So you go on to our WBparks.org website, you can go and look for the registration, and you can register, and every veteran is able to bring one free guest. So again, it's a great event. The tickets go fast, so we encourage people, go ahead and get that registration going so that we can make sure that we're ready and prepared for you. And it's going to be an exciting event.
Sounds like it, and I hope that there are a lot of veterans that end up making their way over to West Bloomfield Middle School to celebrate this event. And as this has been going on for a few years, I'm curious, what has the response been from the veterans who attend, especially the ones that have come back every year? And are there particular moments that really resonate the most with them?
I would say yes. So first of all, this is a very important event, and our seniors, the feedback has been very positive. They enjoy it, they respect it, and they look for it. And so, we are always thinking about how to make things better and greater. And we receive feedback. Last year, we happened to have it on a Saturday, and we received feedback that there was a preference because of our Jewish veterans would like it to be on a weekday. So we were able to work with the school, and because the day of voting is a day that we know automatically that the children are not there or will be leaving, we can make sure that the space is open. So, And it was a question of, wow, you're having this event on the day of voting. And I would say, as we think about one of the wonderful things that our veterans fought for, and that's for our democracy. So having it on the day of voting, I think, is a way to also commemorate one of the key things that they fought for in regards to our freedom. So it's going to be a great event. And the wonderful thing about it is that it's just for a few hours. So again, it's not the whole day. You come in, enjoy some music, along with great speakers and a tasty breakfast. I say that our school children are eating really well because the cooks and the culinary staff there at the West Bloomfield Middle School, their breakfasts are bar none the best. I know that I've enjoyed.
That's great to hear. And that's very interesting to hear the thought process in terms of choosing the day. And it makes a lot of sense. It's a day that everybody is thinking about our country. And of course, that means it's a day we're thinking about our veterans. So it all makes sense. I think that that is a great decision. I got a couple more questions before we wrap things up, Bernadette. What would you say this event means to the families of veterans and their service members? And how would you say this impacts them specifically?
I love that question because I think it speaks to how honored and appreciative that they have that we have an event like this, that they can say, not only do I care about my veteran, but there is a level of respect and honor. And also we appreciate the family members, because if you are a family member of a veteran, there is sacrifice. There's sacrifice that you would have made that otherwise other people may not have experienced. So you've given up a lot as a family member of a veteran, whether you are a child or even a grandchild, because there are stories and also experiences that they may have that impact them today.
That's absolutely right. It's important that these stories are preserved, and it's great that this is going to be an amazing event to help tell those stories and to celebrate these veterans for everything that they've done. Last question, Bernadette. Looking ahead, how would you like the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast to evolve or expand in the future?
I think we're constantly thinking about how to make the program better. And so I think last year we had a video that was done. So I'm really hoping in the future that we can do some things more with the students to be able to engage veterans who may not only show up, but also just to make sure that we take into account people's stories, people's experiences. And it's always wonderful to hear a speaker, but it's something that is to be said about a person and real, a person who may just be a regular guest and may not have been a corporal or a sergeant, but as a private who have had experiences. So I think thinking about how we can continue to engage our participants in the program, I think that's one of the things that I'd like to add as I think about what this program, broadening and having it grow in the future.
Well, we can't wait to see what's to come with this year's event and for everybody to be celebrating all of this fun on November 4th. Bernadette, thank you so much for joining us today here on The Splash Live.
My pleasure, and anytime.
You can find more information on the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast and get your tickets online on wbparks.org/heroes. That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always online on civiccentertv.com and across our social media. Big thank you to our entire crew for making this show possible today, and of course to you for joining in. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social, this has been The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.